Bonsoir, Bruxelles. Goedenavond. Good evening. I used to live in the city, and I love Brussels. And let me tell you about my favorite building in Brussels. It's Rue du Conseil numéro 16, the 16th of the Council Street. And why? Because in that building there lived an exile, a refugee called Pierre-Joseph Proudhon, that once was visited by a young novelist called Lev Nikolaevich Tolstoy. And they spoke about the two last words in Benoît Hamon's speech, Europe and humanity. And Tolstoy said, should I build schools or write novels? And Proudhon said, do both. And he did both. And Tolstoy asked, what are you writing about now? Well, I'm writing a book against militarism. What's the title? War and Peace. Nice title. Can I borrow it? And he did. And that's why I love Brussels, because many times here people have plotted, like we are doing today, not in order to do transnational politics, as we say. We need to emphasize that this is about transnational politics, but we are not doing transnational politics, we are doing politics. Politics has always been transnational. Politics has always been global. Politics has always been about humanity, and politics in Europe, it is about Europe for the sake of humanity. So don't let them tell you that if you are a citizen of the world, you are a citizen of nowhere, as Theresa May once said. Because if you are a citizen of São Gil, where many Portuguese like me live, and you are not a citizen of Brussels, you are not taking citizenship seriously. And if you are a citizen from Belgium, and you are not a citizen from Europe, you are not taking citizenship seriously. But if you are a citizen of Europe, and you are not a citizen of the world, you are not taking citizenship seriously. So I suggest that instead of us talking about citizens of the world, that we just use the word citizens. Citizens. When Aristotle said that the human being is the political animal, he did not say the Athenian is a political animal, although he is, or the Greek is a political animal. He said the human is a political animal. We are all political animals. We are all capable of reinventing our past and building democracy for the future. That is the lesson of democracy. When you built democracy in Athens, there was no democracy at the city level before. People will say, oh, I have my tribe. I am loyal to my tribe. Well, you can build democracy in a city. Centuries afterwards, people said that it was not possible to build democracy in countries. In my country, until '74, I was already born. The Portuguese are not ready for democracy. Turns out they were. And now people say that the Europeans are not ready for democracy. Turns out that we are. We are going to accomplish something together. The third deal of modernity. The first deal was the deal of absolutism. A deal between the subject, the king, and God. And when something went wrong, you had to obey. And that was the deal. And in the end of the 18th century, people discovered that that deal was not good enough. They invented the New Deal after many wars, massacres, fights, strikes, and combats. And let me tell you a story about someone from the New Deal of the 20th century. I grew up in a poor neighborhood in Lisbon. We used to play football in the street, and there was an old lady that lived in a house that had in a basement, only with a very small window, where our football would knock her window time to time. She hated us, and we thought that she was very annoying. One day she finds me in the street. She asked me, "Do you speak English?" "Yes, I do. I need you to come to my house." She had been an immigrant in the United States for many years. She had not learned one word of English because she lived among the Portuguese in Newark, New Jersey. You know what was the only two words that she knew in English? Social security. And what she wanted to talk with me was about the federal check. She was a creature of the New Deal. And today, as I'm speaking in English to all of you, I want to pay homage to those creatures of the 20th century New Deal, a deal between the people, the nation, and the state. But now we need to go beyond that. We need the Green New Deal, the newest deal, which is a deal between humanity, technology, and nature. And can we do it? Of course, we did the other one. We are going to do this one. So let me finish by reminding some questions that I did when we started this out in Berlin. They were very simple. They helped me out in answering them, so I hope you can also help me out. Is it acceptable that in the European Union we do not elect all lawmakers? Is this acceptable? Well, I think it is not acceptable. Is it acceptable that we do not elect the European Commission? What's your answer?
No.
Is it acceptable that we don't elect the so-called ambassadors in the European Council? Is it acceptable that the meetings of the Eurogroup are not public? Is it acceptable that some politicians in Europe keep telling us that what we have to say to refugees is that if you were born on this side of the Mediterranean, good for you. If you were born in the other side of the Mediterranean, tough luck. It's the lottery of life. Is this acceptable?
No.
So if this is not acceptable, if something somewhere is not acceptable, there has to be someone somewhere who does not accept that. And that is us. We are the ones who do not accept this, and we are the ones who are going to transform this. And let me tell you, we are going to do it in 2 months. And how? That conversation from the past that Yanis was talking about a few minutes ago was in the middle of the Eurozone crisis. But after a few minutes, we found ourselves talking about Ulysses. That was our conversation. And I love, being from Portugal, I'm going to teach you a Greek word, I hope I pronounce it correctly. The first adjective in the Odyssey, talking about Ulysses, it's polytropon. It means that of many ways. It means that when people tell you today there is no alternative, well, answer with Ulysses. He's our first hero from the first poem of this part of humanity. And he was polytropon, that of many ways. So already when they tell you there is no alternative, show them the program of the European Spring. There are tens of alternatives there. But show them this stage of people. Each of these people, candidates, men and women, they are all polytropon, those of many ways. They are going to show many ways to the European Commission, the Council and the Parliament. But you, over there, you are those of many ways, all of you men and women. And because you have many ways, there is no alternative for you. You are going to speak to all your friends, to all your family, to all your neighbors, to all your working colleagues, and you are going to tell them there is a new thing. It's called the European Spring. It's the first transnational list. Well, it's actually the first time for European politics. And because the European Union has lived a near-death experience, what we are going to do now is to tell everybody that this is their very first true European election of their lives. The election where citizens will take power in their hands. And because we are polytropon, we have many ways, nobody is going to give us there is no alternative. There is always very, very many alternatives. Thank you very much. Muito obrigado.